Hey guys, it's Patricia. I'm back with another episode on the dialogue. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is my prayer that as you listen to the content on these shows that you are able to have some type of transformation, your perspective shifts as far as how you look at life, the situations that you have gone through, the unfortunate circumstances and trauma and pain, that this will give you a fresh perspective for you to be able to transform and have more optimism in your life. So thank you so much for tuning in. As you know, our mantra is that we are healing souls one conversation at a time. So it is my prayer that as I give this content to you, that you go out. Maybe you'll meet a perfect stranger. Maybe when someone has had a prayer on their heart that's in close proximation to you. And you will be able to share what you listen to on the podcast, and it can be a help to another person. After all, our responsibility is to share the good news. So thank you so much for tuning in. Today's topic is going to be one that is highly interesting. I hope I don't get a lot of clap back in regard to the information that we're going to share, because it's really going to help you. This is not an episode for those that are immature or possibly want to play victim. This depending on the situation that took place with them. This episode is for those that are interested in not only maturing, but letting go, releasing, giving accountability, not only to that other person, but also to themselves, and moving forward with their lives. Okay. So I hope you're ready for the title. This episode today is going to be titled, Why You Should Pray for Your Enemy. Why you should pray for your enemy. So I'm going to just go into it from this end. I have endured many traumatic situations at the hands of other people. For many years, I endured homelessness, where it consisted of people saying, okay, we'll help you if you come live here. When I got there, it was just horrible. I didn't get the help and assistance that I need because I end up having to give, to help, to cook, to clean. And so it took so much time from me being able to take care of myself and handle the business so that I could come out of transiency. And that's just more like when you're living from place to place, pillar to post, and you just don't have a home of your own. Okay. I've also experienced molestation. I've also been raped. I also was almost sex trafficked by a family member. I've also experienced many stints of betrayal, issues at work, coworkers, supervisors, people setting me up to fail. The list goes on and on and on. So as I talk to you, I am not one that is sharing this content with you because this is not something that has helped me. This is something that has helped me. And this is the purpose of sharing it with you, in hopes that you will take it upon yourself if you want to, because it's a choice, but that it will help you. Okay. So why you should pray for your enemies. And I just have 4 small little tidbits for you. And hopefully it will evolve into a thought process that will help you to see why it is that you don't want to pray for your enemy, or the justification as to why you feel like you shouldn't, help you get past it so that you can. So number 1, when I went through my harsh situations, even though these people did me horribly, what I noticed is that as I would express my feelings to God, He will always say, or put it on my heart or in my spirit, to do something nice for them. And I couldn't understand. Why would you have me do something nice for this person? They're trying to make me lose my job. Not just one of them, 5 of them at several different incidents. Why would you want me to do nice things for this person, buy them lunch, say something nice to them, compliment them, write them poetry, and they're trying to exploit and get over on me or use me for monetary gain? Why would you want me to do the opposite to them of what they're doing to me, when I so would love to go above and beyond and do worse to them? It was not one of those moments where Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go higher. It was more so, I want to go so low because I'm so hurt and irritated, and I want to serve them their notice that what you're doing, I see it. Because I think a lot of times when people do wrong to people, they don't understand that sometimes, even if they're trying to be sneaky, that person can see what they're doing. And, people can be manipulative and be slick, but they don't understand that when you have discernment, you can actually see, and God will let you understand the plots and the plans. He'll give you a strategy to go around it. But sometimes taking the higher road is difficult. Like I said, this is not a podcast for those that will persist in immaturity. This is to bring us up to another level. So as God would have me do these nice things, it was so it could keep my heart soft so that I could remain loving and gentle. Because let me tell you something. When you see that people have a target on your back and they're trying to do things to destroy you, things that you work for, degrees that you've worked for, accolades that you've accomplished, relationships and people that you've connected to, and they come in to try to destroy that, bitterness can set in. And bitterness on the scope of, I haven't done anything wrong. Why is this person doing this to me? I'm not bothering them. Why are they bothering me? So oftentimes you just want to be left alone. But I understand that as I prayed for them and did the nice things that God told me to do, what it did was it kept my heart soft so that God could talk to me about the person. Oftentimes, he would let me into the inner chambers of their heart through prayer, meaning I would start to have compassion for them and feel bad and say to myself, this person must really be messed up, or something really must be going on for them to try to destroy me or make me the target of their new unhealthy mission. I was going to say demonic, because we know a lot of times when people just set out on an all-out mission to destroy you, that's not godly. That's not godly. And you have to pray for them. Or let's just say you should, okay? So I'm going to say that when I prayed for my enemies, it kept my heart soft. And I will give you another tidbit. God continued to bless. We'll get into that a little bit later. Because there are blessings attached when you keep your heart clear, right? But we'll get into that in a couple seconds, okay? I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Number 2, when you pray for your enemies, God not only works on your heart, it also gives him an opportunity to work on their heart. I've seen many instances where people have done me wrong, and as I was praying for them, or God led me on a fast for them, or whatever he would have me to do, I noticed a lot of times he would turn the situation around. Don't misunderstand me. Sometimes the situation doesn't turn around because some people are just so adamant to resist being loving and gentle and kind. But a lot of times when I did see the turnaround to the situation, I am not going to say me and that person became best friends, but it did shed a light on what they were doing, who they were at the core, and I noticed that God was trying to work that out of them. Because oftentimes they didn't have a real legitimate reason to attack or slander or dog or treat me inadequately or as if I didn't matter. It was something going on within them. And so as I prayed for them, my heart remained soft, and it gave God room, space, opportunity to work on their hearts. Because inevitably, that is what it is all about. I always say that the person that you can help the most oftentimes will hurt you the most. And this is why it leads into tip number 3. Whatever they are hoping for or praying for in regards to your demise, it exemplifies their character. But you want to pray for them because they're lost. They're lost. For a person to come up against you, assault you, or do whatever they're doing, and even use other people, they're lost. Because they're not focused on themselves. They're not focused on their mission, their life, how much time, resources, how much of their spiritual strength that they're putting in trying to destroy you. So as God is working on their hearts, he has to also open their eyes. And so you praying for them, your prayers can be what actually opens their eyes. And as a believer, if that is what we are, that is what we want. We want their eyes to be open. We want their spirit to be unlocked. We want them to be free. We want them to walk in joy and peace and happiness. The same things that they attempt to try to steal from us when they do the things that they're doing. We want that to be their portion, because if it is their portion as far as being joyful, peaceful, happy, they wouldn't do the things that they're doing to other people. So what you can do is you can look at that person and you can honestly say they're miserable. They're not happy. They're not free. Because a person that is not happy wastes their time on other people, trying to make their lives miserable. More importantly than that, while everything is going on, say for instance, you're at odds with a person, which means that you just don't agree, they don't agree with you, or they're causing strife, tension, chaos, confusion in your life. Ultimately, what is going on is that there is an enemy in between the situation. There's an enemy in the middle. And oftentimes the enemy is the enemy inside that person, working on them to cause your life to be chaotic, confused, full of strife. And the bad part about that is that if you turn over to be like them, and I've been here before, this is why I'm talking to you. I've been the person that was going through it with someone and we would argue and it would be bad, because I'm the type of person, I'm going to get my point across. You're going to hear what I'm saying and you're going to understand what I'm saying. But in those heated debates, nobody was listening. Nobody was hearing each other. The communication, the line of communication was severed. And so the enemy in the middle of the situation that wants both people or numerous people, depending on what side, not to talk, not to come together, not to sit down and reason, that is how he keeps the situation in catastrophe, in a destructive state. And if you're not praying for that other person and also praying for yourself and asking God to remove you and your feelings and how angry you are and how hurt you are, because I'm going to be honest, you can be hurt, you can be angry, you can feel all these feelings. But it's when your feelings get involved that's the enemy using it to keep you apart from this person. So in praying for them, there is such a beautiful amount of peace that comes over you, because it not only gives you peace, God wants you to pray for that person because it can give you strategy, and God will also not only give you strategy for yourself, but sometimes strategy for that other person. And that is where the blessing is attached to the situation. Because God looks at you like you're humble enough to trust me in this situation. Because you trust me in this situation, I'm going to work it out for your good. Because you trust me in this situation, nothing that they're doing is going to prosper. If anything was to prosper, it's only because God is going to use it in the end result to benefit you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where the blessing is. Whatever the enemy does, whoever he uses, ultimately, God allows it, permits it, because somewhere in there, as you continue to pray and let the anger and the rage, the bitterness go, and whatever feelings that you have, God shows you the blessing. Meaning that whatever they intended, it didn't work. Whatever they tried to do, it pushed you to another level. Whatever they tried to do in your life to destroy you, ultimately they already destroyed themselves, because even to think of those type of missions, plots, and plans, that person is already destroyed within themselves. Because people that are loving and gentle and kind and want to see other people win, they think of ways of being a help to other people. If you turn it around and look at the core of that person, something's going on in their inner person. Could it be that the prayers that you're praying for them is actually a shield to not become like them? Because at the end of the day, that's exactly what the enemy wants. He wants that person who may be being used, and sometimes they don't even know how hard the enemy is using them. They just go along with the plan because something in them can't tell them to stop, that this is not right. You shouldn't do that, person. That reason doesn't go into their hearts and their spirits. So your prayers oftentimes can be the catalyst to what goes inside of them to help them. And so when you do that, not only can you stop the enemy in his tracks from his plan towards you, you can also stop him from destroying them further. This is why it is important to pray for your enemies, because he's not only trying to destroy you, he's also destroying them. He's just using them to try to destroy you. And I used to get to the point when God would, this is definitely a moment of transparency. I used to get to the point when God would tell me to pray for my enemies. I would ask him, because I would feel like you care more about them than you do about me, because look at what they're doing to me. And it just pierced my heart so much. It wasn't that God did not care about me. I had a relationship with God. That wasn't in jeopardy. The issue was that these people either didn't have a relationship with God, or they did have a relationship with God, or they weren't listening. Either way, the enemy was in control of their lives during that season and time, using them to try to destroy me. And it's the same for you. Yes, it does not feel good because it seems like you take it so personally because it's against you. When 5 or 6 people rise up against you, not comfortable at all. But the beautiful thing is that God will give such a resiliency and a mental fortitude and build you up so much through it. If you allow him to take you through it, learn what he needs you to learn, and keep your heart soft so that you don't take on these devilish characteristics, there is a blessing in it. Because I noticed that sometimes the situations, I've been through many, guys. So this is not just one particular situation. I've been through many. Oftentimes when the assault would start, or the whatever it was that the enemy started to put in rotation through these people, for a little while, I would cry. I would be so distraught. I would be so hurt because it wasn't just people that were not close to me. It was people that were close to me too. And then God would show me what they were doing. I'm like, why are you showing me this? That's enough to give someone a mental issue right there. You're showing me what they're doing to me. You're showing me that they're deliberately trying to hurt me. You're showing me that they want to use me. You're showing me that they want to get money from me or harm me. But God, it was like he was showing me to pray against it, not take it personally because it was what the enemy wanted to happen to me. Not that God was going to let it happen to me at all, but he wanted me to be a blessing to that person, to show them and be an example. You don't have to be like this. You don't have to hate people even though you're not really saying it. You don't have to want to see other people fall and fail even though you're doing things for it to be done, but you're not saying it. God not only was showing me, but he was also showing that person themselves. And that's what God does, ladies and gentlemen. He puts us in situations. He pushes us through fiery trials, or allows fiery trials, to bring up to the surface what's really in us. So as you pray for your enemies, it is a repellent. So what is inside of them does not get inside of you. That in itself is a blessing. That in itself is the beauty of praying for your enemies. Because all in all, they're really not your enemies. They may not like something in you, or agree with you, or prefer something about you. But at the end of the day, the issue is that they're really an enemy to themselves. And what's on the inside of them is just coming and targeting you. Because you wake up with joy, you wake up with peace, you wake up with a sound mind. That person doesn't have that. So that is when they come into your life, they're coming to steal that from you. Praying for them keeps them from stealing that from you. And it keeps you from transforming into that person. Because my question is, how do you think they got the way that they are? Someone did them wrong. Someone betrayed them. Someone stole money from them. Someone did something to them to now they're doing it to another person. So ask yourself a question. Is it worth not praying for them? Because it definitely is worth it, because the cycle breaks with you. I know people, their mission is to destroy other people's lives because their lives were destroyed. And so God will bring them into my sphere of life and they will try to destroy me. This is honest to God goodness. But God said, this is the last one you'll do this to. And so I go through it, ladies and gentlemen. I go through. But at the end of the thing, I'm standing. I'm standing strong for Christ. I still have my faith intact, my mind intact, and still have love in my heart and a prayer for them. So you could be the one that changes the standard in this person's life. If you handle the situation correctly, do not become hateful. Because I don't know what it is. It seems like once that person does what they do and they expect you not to feel or not to be angry about it, but you do become hateful. It's like the fuel that they need. It's like the gasoline that they need to keep hating you and making your life bad. So don't give them any fuel. I love when it says, don't pay your haters any attention. And I'm only calling them haters and enemies because this is what we will reference or know them as from how culture and society says. But I will say this, if you are a believer, they're not necessarily an enemy of you. It says a lot of times people are enemies of the cross. And so if you're crucified in yourself and your flesh, meaning that you're not going to clap back, you're not going to say anything smart, you're going to be meek, gentle, and humble, that's what they hate. And so what they do is they keep trying to put fire on you so that you'll ignite, blow up. But when you do that, you mess up everything you've been working for. Prayer is the answer. Prayer is the key. But it's not only just praying for yourself, it's also prayer for your enemy. And so I hope and pray that this helps somebody, because sometimes that's all that you can do. You can't sometimes speak reason or rationale into people. I've heard it said, common sense is not common. And so you have to decide, I'm going to be the mature one. I'm going to do what's healthy. I'm going to do what's right. And it does hurt, ladies and gentlemen. It hurts so bad. But it makes you into someone that God not only trusts with trouble, because that is trouble, but he puts you on a pedestal. That's why he said, I'll prepare a table in the presence of your enemies. Because ultimately, when they do you wrong, they're doing him wrong. So he'll prepare a table and let you eat in peace and delight and love and joy. But after you've shown that you don't belong at the table with them. And then when he's done with the situation, if that person has transformed, sometimes he'll give grace and mercy and let them eat at the table with you. So it's never worth hating anybody. So I hope that this helped you. Just a little bit of my testimony. I will be getting into more content as the time goes on, because we are dealing with mental health issues. And I could tell you unforgiveness is primarily one of the main things that I see that have, opens the door to a lot of mental illness. Okay. So stay tuned for more episodes. Don't forget that we're healing souls one conversation at a time. We will be back with more content. I hope you guys have an awesome day. We'll be back.